Emperor Hirohito of Japan. It's a sunny day in Tokyo, 1901, and Japan's future emperor is born not just with a silver spoon, but a whole silver banquet. Yes, we're talking about Hirohito, the little prince who would one day rule Japan. But hold your horses, this isn't your average royal tale. It's got everything from imperial palaces to military conundrums, and of course, a few twists and turns along the way. As Hirohito grew up, Japan was also growing faster than bamboo in a summer rainstorm. The country was transforming, mixing old traditions with new ideas, and Hirohito was right in the middle of it all, getting ready to step into his father's shoes, or, should I say, his father's imperial sandals. In 1926, the crown passed from father to son, and Hirohito became the emperor at the ripe age of 25. Now, imagine being handed the keys to a kingdom with the expectation to lead a nation with centuries of history. Talk about being thrown in at the deep end. But Hirohito wasn't just treading water, he was steering the ship. And what a ship it was, navigating through the choppy waters of global politics and a nation ready to spread its wings or, in this case, its imperial banner. But this is just the calm before the storm, my friends. As Hirohito settles into his role, the winds of war begin to howl across the globe. We'll dive into the fiery furnace of World War II, where our young emperor faces challenges that would make any ruler lose sleep. So, stick around, things are about to get heated. With Hirohito now firmly seated on the throne, Japan was about to embark on a journey that would shake the world to its core. It was the 1930s, and Japan wasn't just flexing its muscles, it was preparing to throw a knockout punch. Our young emperor, now the captain of this ever-growing war machine, was about to steer Japan into one of the darkest chapters in world history. Japan was on the move, and boy, did they move fast. In 1931, they invaded Manchuria, setting the stage for what would become a domino effect of military aggression across Asia. And just like that, Hirohito's empire was expanding faster than you could say land grab. But here's the million-yen question. How much did Hirohito know, and how much was he pulling the strings? This is where the plot thickens. Was Hirohito the mastermind behind Japan's military campaigns, or was he more of a figurehead, smiling and waving while the generals did the dirty work? The truth is as murky as a foggy morning in Tokyo. Some say he was a puppet, others argue he was the puppeteer. But one thing's for sure, Japan's military machine was rolling full steam ahead, and there was no stopping it. Then came the attack that would change the course of history, Pearl Harbor. On December 7, 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on the United States, dragging the land of the free and the home of the brave into World War II. Hirohito's empire was now in a full-blown conflict with the Allies, and the stakes couldn't have been higher. It was all or nothing. The war in the Pacific was no walk in the park, it was more like a walk through a minefield. Japan, under Hirohito's watchful eye, fought fiercely, believing they could carve out a new empire across Asia. But as the war dragged on, the tide began to turn, and not in Japan's favor. By 1944, things were looking as bleak as a Tokyo winter. When the dust settled and the echoes of war finally faded, Japan was a shadow of its former self. The once mighty empire had been brought to its knees, and in the ashes of defeat stood Emperor Hirohito, a man who had just witnessed the destruction of his nation. But instead of throwing in the towel, Hirohito did something that left the world scratching its head. He reinvented himself and, in the process, helped reshape Japan. The Allied occupation of Japan wasn't exactly a stroll through the park. MacArthur and his troops landed in Japan not just as victors, but as the architects of a new Japan. And who was right there beside them, playing the role of both spectator and participant? You guessed it, Hirohito, but this wasn't the same emperor who had led Japan into war. No, this was a man who was ready to trade in his military regalia for a suit and tie. Then came January 1st, 1946, a day that would go down in history as the moment Hirohito traded in his divine status for a more earthly title. In what's known as the Humanity Declaration, Hirohito told the people of Japan that he was, in fact, not a living god, but just another mortal, albeit one with a pretty fancy job title. Talk about a divine downgrade. This declaration wasn't just about humility. It was about signaling to the world that Japan was ready to turn over a new leaf. With the divine drama behind him, Hirohito got down to business literally. Japan, under the careful watch of its emperor, began a transformation that was nothing short of miraculous. Factories sprang up like mushrooms after the rain, and the Japanese economy took off faster than a bullet train. And through it all, Hirohito, the once mighty war leader, became a symbol of peace, stability, and resilience. But let's not kid ourselves, Hirohito's new role wasn't just about cutting ribbons and shaking hands. His presence became the glue that held Japan's identity together as the country rebuilt itself from the ground up. From a feared war leader to a beloved symbol of a new era, Hirohito's transformation was nothing short of remarkable. And if you think that's the end of the story, hold on to your hats, there's still more to come. As the dust settled and Japan began its remarkable recovery, Hirohito found himself in a new role, the face of a rebuilding nation. Gone were the days of military conquests and wartime decisions. Instead, Hirohito transitioned into a ceremonial role, embracing his duties with the grace of a ballet dancer on stage. But while the world saw him as a symbol of Japan's resilience, the story of Hirohito's later years was far from simple. During the post-war years, Hirohito was busy attending ceremonies, meeting with foreign dignitaries, and generally being the nation's top ambassador. His schedule was packed, and let's face it, his calendar was probably more full than a Tokyo subway during rush hour. But despite his busy schedule, Hirohito was not without his controversies. Here's where things get a bit sticky. Despite his new role as a peace symbol, many people couldn't shake off the question marks hanging over his wartime actions. Was Hirohito a passive bystander or an active participant in the war? The debate continued to swirl around him like a whirlpool, with historians and critics weighing in on his legacy. On the bright side, Hirohito's reign during the post-war period coincided with Japan's economic miracle, a time when Japan transformed from a war-ravaged country into a global economic powerhouse. Hirohito was there, as steady as a rock, watching his nation's incredible rise from the sidelines. He wasn't pulling the strings behind the scenes, but his presence was a reminder of the country's journey from devastation to prosperity. As the years went by, Hirohito faced the inevitable signs of aging. He continued to fulfill his ceremonial duties until his health began to decline. On January 7, 1989, Hirohito passed away, marking the end of the Showa Washington era, a period of immense change and turmoil for Japan. His passing was met with a mix of mourning and reflection as the nation and the world looked back on his complex legacy. So, what's the final word on Hirohito's legacy? Was he a relic of the past or a symbol of a new beginning for Japan? On one hand, Hirohito's reign saw Japan rise from the ashes of war to become one of the world's leading economies. His era witnessed an economic miracle that transformed Japan into a technological and cultural powerhouse. If there was an award for best comeback, Japan would have taken the gold medal, and Hirohito would have been the proud recipient of a shiny, symbolic trophy. But it's not all sunshine and cherry blossoms. The shadows of Hirohito's wartime decisions continued to cast a long shadow over his later years. The debate over his role during World War II remains as lively as a sumo match. Was he a passive figurehead or a more active participant? The answers remain as elusive as the perfect sushi roll. When Hirohito passed away in 1989, Japan bid farewell to a complex figure who had seen the country through both triumph and turmoil. His funeral was a poignant reminder of the weight of his legacy, a blend of reverence, reflection, and a touch of unresolved questions. Ultimately, Hirohito's story is a testament to the resilience of both a man and a nation. He was a witness to one of the most transformative periods in Japanese history, and his legacy is woven into the very fabric of modern Japan. Whether viewed as a symbol of change or a remnant of the past, Hirohito's impact is undeniable, a reminder that history is not just about the past, but also about how we move forward. Thanks for joining us on this fascinating journey through the life of Emperor Hirohito. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Was Hirohito a hero, a villain, or something in between? Drop your comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating historical stories. Until next time, keep exploring the past and embracing the future.